What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Otherwise with Jane Harvey with me, your host, Jane Harvey. If you're new here, welcome. So stoked to have you. And I make new videos every day, so there's a ton of content for you to dive into. Today, I'm talking about caffeine and why I quit caffeine. And if you have been kind of flirting with the idea of quitting caffeine yourself, this might be the perfect video for you. So let's jump in. So I'm making this video because I just recently did a video about the parasympathetic versus sympathetic nervous system, and you're going to have to go watch it. It's a great one, and it's very helpful for those of you who are feeling like you want to take better care of your body and in so doing have a better life. So the sympathetic nervous system is the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode, and it's an important space to be, but it can be a hard thing to get out of in our culture because we're constantly stimulated by screens, by caffeine, by the challenges of everyday life, by intense news sources. There's so much coming at us that we end up staying in sympathetic too long. We need to move out of it into parasympathetic, which is that rest and digest. And I give you a lot of tools for how to do that in this other video. So definitely go check it out. So I found myself, I'm 33 now, at around 29, 30, which I turned 29 just after COVID ended. And we all went through that trauma. That was a really, really intense cultural trauma. So for those of you who didn't already have pre-existing trauma conditions, we all went through a collective trauma. Trauma puts you in sympathetic. Your body's like, okay, things aren't okay. So I need to go into protection mode. So you're in a sympathetic state. You are constantly on guard. That's fatiguing and that's exhausting. So I found myself noticing that I just felt on edge all the time. And I also grew up with trauma in my childhood and in my life, and I had not begun to really process it. Didn't even really quite understand it because we normalize so much of our lives, right? Because we have to survive. And so by the time I met Micah and he and I got married we started building a life together, we moved in together, even before we got married, I started to notice wow, I feel like I'm not the sort of rudimentary terms for it was like, I feel like I'm not okay. Like things just don't feel okay. And Micah is, bless him, he's one of the calmest people. I mean, it's like people should study him. Like his brain is gorgeous. He's so calm. It's lovely. And he's so good for me because I'm a firecracker. But it felt like, no, this is more than just being an energetic, vivacious person with a lot of enthusiasm. Like I don't feel like I can access calm when I want to. And I want to be able to always access calm. Like I want to be a composed, calm person. And he and I spent a lot of our relationship working on our relationship. So we have worked really intentionally to build systems of communication, respect, and care, and coexistence and collaboration that really work. And I'm going to make a couple of videos about that soon, about how we made that possible and how we work together as business partners and lovers and collaborators in our lives. But I was noticing, okay, I have trauma. I get that. Started to kind of unpack that in our relationship because relationships are this amazing mirror. And found therapists and started kind of working inward, working on my inner landscape. And one thing I figured out is, okay, I'm in sympathetic all the time. I'm not relaxing. I'm not finding calm. So lots of trial and error figuring out, how can I rest? How can I get into parasympathetic? How can I encourage my brain to shift into out of fight or flight mode, out of this sympathetic state. And one thing that I found reluctantly really was helping me was not drinking caffeine. So it would be like, I didn't drink caffeine, we'd have a nice day or a nice week, and then I'd have a cup of coffee, and if we got into a fight that day, the fight would feel so much bigger to me. It was like my body would react so much higher, like the voltage was like someone had turned up the volume on intensity and stress in my body. So I'm going along, I'm feeling all this energy and this fuel, but it's going in a good way. And then something negative happens, and my ability to calm down was so impaired. So I started kind of putting together like, okay, when you drink caffeine and doing research on the nervous system and the body, like you are activating your adrenaline and your cortisol production. So you're overstimulating adrenaline and cortisol, which is your stress hormone and your like your strength hormone, your push fight hormone. They're good in healthy doses, but in unhealthy doses, they make you a rage monster or someone who can't calm down or a road rage or whatever it is. They burn you out. They overstimulate you. So I'm like, okay, I'm drinking this caffeine and I'm feeling this way. I'm not drinking it and I'm not reacting as badly. Now, I've been a barista. I'm not now, but I was for like 10 years. I love coffee. I love the sourcing of coffee. I love the taste of it. I love coffee shops. They're these hubs of culture and community. But it was like, girl, like this is kind of an A to B. Matcha, green tea, black tea, coffee, it didn't matter. The caffeine was causing me to feel too much adrenaline in my body, and I did more research and finally was like, okay, so I'm kicking myself into sympathetic and staying there. And even though our culture is so encouraging, we have this grind culture background that fully supports not resting and pushing past your limits and discourages rest, which is shifting. That narrative is shifting. But I realized this is damaging my ability to relate to my own body. And in so doing, it's damaging my ability to relate to this person who I love so much. And then I started to see, wow, it's damaged my ability to relate to a lot of people. Like, I started to see how that shorter fuse and that lack of self control when I was upset was affecting me in my life, and that I had just been normalizing ingesting this very intense drug, which it's legal, you can buy it anywhere, it's fine, but it's a stimulant like anything else, was damaging my ability to rest and to calm down and to expand my window of tolerance. And in my case, and this might be your case as well, to heal my trauma. Because the fact of the matter is, the more I go into sympathetic, the harder it is for me to let go of memories and feelings that are associated with that state. And I was working really intentionally on getting into a parasympathetic state, that rest, relax, digest. And from there, letting those memories like archive, move past, so that I could make my own choices about when and how I wanted to go into sympathetic versus when and how I wanted to go into parasympathetic, or even just that I wanted to go there, that I could be able to go there. So I made this tough call to quit caffeine, which I did experience some migraines, which I'm prone to migraines anyway. That might not happen for you, but there is a withdrawal period. And there was a culture shift for me where it was like, oh man, I really identified with being a coffee girl and waking up every morning at 5 and I would have coffee with oat milk and collagen and agave, and it was so tasty, and it would give me that zip, and it would like activate my digestion, and I was just like, this is amazing. But I would also have a crash around 12, anywhere from 12 to 2, where my energy would just plummet and I would feel so tired. But I was on that hamster wheel. I was hooked on it. So I had a few migraines. I had a couple of days of pretty intense fatigue as my adrenals kind of balanced out, and my body was like, hey, we've been exhausted. We've been so tired and trying to tell you that, and you've just been stimulating us and stimulating us. And then I felt, I would say 2 weeks in to quitting caffeine, I felt the most clear, clean, generative energy I've felt in a long time, probably since I was a kid when I didn't use caffeine. It's 4 now, 4:30, almost 5. I'm clear-headed. I'm energized. I feel good. I'm happy. My levels are level. Everything feels balanced and in its place. I sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. I wake up in the morning and I have a warm beverage. Right now I'm drinking rooibos tea, which is an African red bush tea. It's floral and also kind of nutty and earthy. It's delicious. I put a little coconut milk in there and a little agave, and It's this sweet, warm ritual that is still so important to me in the morning, but my adrenal glands start working. My cortisol that naturally wakes me up doesn't get uber spiked by that hit of caffeine. I actually let my body come online the way that it is meant to. I step outside, I get some vitamin D, I like to put my feet on the ground, get a little grounding, and all of this just kicks in and activates my body's organic systems, which are meant to energize me. And I go into sympathetic in a relaxed way, and I stay in it as long as I need to. I don't burn out at 12 or 1 or 2. And I have truly found when my husband and I get into conflict, I am a calmer, more graceful version of myself who is able to take a breath and not have that trauma response activated and not go into that fear state. And I want to be clear, that is not just because of caffeine. I've done extensive work and therapy and journaling, and he and I have gone to the Gottman Institute, and we have both grown together tremendously to exercise true relating and true love and what that looks like. This helps. This decision was informed by I know my bandwidth is bigger when I'm not caffeinated. The same way it's bigger if I'm not drunk or if I'm not high. Like me, unaugmented, actually is going to do the best job of any of these versions. Now, I want to be clear. I think drugs have their place. I think that they're very beneficial in certain settings. I've done a lot of research and writing on MDMA assisted therapy, psilocybin assisted therapy, ketamine assisted therapy. I think that medicine is medicine, and that and I learned that from an amazing shaman, Kenny Feldsat. We have an episode coming out with him soon, so stay tuned. But he said it so beautifully. But it's true. Medicine is medicine, and I think drugs can be medicine. I think caffeine can be a medicine. But our culture is encouraging an overuse that is harmful to the human system. And so if you have felt like this is maybe you, like you are feeling burnt out, you're pushing too hard, you might even already know I'm using caffeine to get me through the day, but I don't like how I feel. You're not alone. This is not strange. It's very encouraged in our culture, and it's probably bumming you out. And that's just to put it lightly. Like, it's keeping you in sympathetic, and it's hard on your body. So I did it. You can do it. There are so many awesome beverages that you can use as a replacement. Just a couple: rooibos, peppermint tea, cacao, which I make cacao a couple times a week with a collagen supplement and coconut milk and cinnamon and ginger and a little salt and agave, and it's absolutely exquisite. You can do lemon ginger tea, lemon water with a little honey and salt for an electrolyte boost. There are so many beverages that are more intentional. I also do a mushroom blend that has maca, ashwagandha, reishi to stimulate neural activity and mental clarity and de-stress. Like, basically the opposite of what coffee does, with all of the benefit of clarity of mind and energy. Like, those are the things that you can be giving yourself that are so beneficial for you. It's available, it's out there. You can reduce your use if you want to, and you can give it up altogether if you want to. So if this feels like you, I hope this kickstarted something, and maybe you take that next step into quitting caffeine. And definitely watch the video on sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system. See how you can nourish yourself and support yourself, because that's what we're here to do. That's the point. Hope you loved this. And if you did, like it, subscribe it, share it with a friend, and I will see you promptly tomorrow.